did enough, as far as you're concerned, on climate change today.
I'm recording. Can you count to 5 for me, please?
The President?
Yes, please.
Yes. Hello.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay, very good. Yeah, thank you.
Michael, just watch your microphone as I move into shot.
Okay, you're right.
Recording.
I look at you.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. President, how would you describe the summit today? Was it a success, and did the leaders agree to the recommendation for a Human Rights High Commissioner?
The discussions today was very stimulating, I must say, and we have discussed a wide range of issues. Especially, we have discussed extensively the issue of small island states, sustainable development, climate change, food security, and also included in sustainability is the problem of piracy. So I think all these issues reflect the concerns being expressed by most countries, but specifically the small island states and Seychelles, which have always been at the forefront to advocate the specificities and the vulnerability of small island states in relation to sustainability, in relation to climate change, and also in relation to the way the world community marginalizes the small island states, and especially as we graduate to middle income, then we fall into what I call the middle income trap, where we do not get access to concessionary financing, and then we find ourselves very much cornered and in our development. So all these issues were touched on, and the entire Commonwealth community present there sympathizes with the plight of the small islands and also the developing countries. And especially present there, you have 24 small island states, which represents an important number of members. So I must say that the discussions were very productive, and all these are reflected and will be reflected in the final communique.
Has the final communique been agreed to now?
Not all the issues have been discussed yet, but what has been discussed, especially on small islands, sustainable development, climate change, especially the way forward in Durban and the way forward in Rio, and the need to come to some agreement to ensure that we move forward and that we save our planet in the actions that will have to be taken. I think all these have been agreed in principle.
So the communique calls for strong action at Durban?
Yes, definitely, at least that we move forward and concrete actions are taken and that decisions are arrived at.
And what happens if the talks in Durban again fail on climate change?
Well, we are hoping that there will be a way forward, because we have to be optimistic. We cannot all sink into despair and be pessimistic and say we are not moving forward. I think the way forward now is to continue to push and press for the international community to understand that we have a planet to save, we have humanity to save. So we must take concrete actions to be able to ensure that we reduce the emission of carbon into the atmosphere, and we go more towards renewable energy, where the larger countries, industrialized countries, with the means, have to ensure that we help the smaller countries to be able to go for renewable energy, so that we can be an example, a laboratory, which the rest of the world can emulate.
On the issue of piracy, were you happy with what came out of the summit meeting?
I think what is important, something that I've been pushing for, in fact, when I visited Australia on a state visit in August, I discussed with the Prime Minister, and also I discussed with the Commonwealth Secretary General to ensure that we put piracy on the agenda. And I am very gratified to know that piracy reflects very strongly in the final communique, and this has been accepted. and that it is not, piracy is no longer a regional problem, a problem of the Indian Ocean. Piracy is an international problem, and the problem of the pirates of Somalia has to be resolved in Somalia itself, and the international community must get together and find solutions, because today it is piracy. I've been saying that for 2 years, and I continue to repeat it. Today's piracy, maybe it's affecting international trade, it's affecting the free sea, the sea lanes, but tomorrow it will be terrorism. It has started already in Kenya, in Uganda. It will spread. Terrorism has no frontiers. So I think it is necessary for the international community to take note of that and take action as soon as possible.
Just moving back to the issue of human rights, which is the contentious issue here. Did the leaders, I understand Sri Lanka says it opposed the adoption of a human rights commissioner, so the leaders won't be able to agree on that point in the communique. Is that correct?
I think there is a situation here where there are divergent views on the matter. It seems as if most heads of state are not in favor of having a specific human rights commissioner, especially for economic reasons and perhaps having more bureaucratic institutions that might not work. What most leaders feel that perhaps we should reinforce the office of the Secretary General so that it can effectively respond to any request by any parties in any state to be able to investigate allegations or problems of human rights. That the institutions exist already. It is only a question of reinforcing the capacity to be able to do that. This is the views of most of the leaders that have spoken there. But I think most important also is the question of the charter, the charter, and reinforcing the Commonwealth to be able to have a system where it reinforces the values, the shared values that the Commonwealth believes in. That is the rule of law, democracy, human rights, and all these things that make up the values of the Commonwealth, and has to be reinforced, not only accepted by member states, but lived by member states. Yeah.
Do you think, many people have said, without the adoption of these strong measures like a Human Rights Commissioner, this summit will be seen as a failure? Mr. Badawi from the Eminent Persons Group, former Prime Minister of Malaysia, said this himself in his address to your leaders.
I think former Prime Minister of Malaysia made a very passionate presentation to the meeting yesterday, and the issue of having a commissioner is only one aspect of the broader report that has been prepared and been presented. So I think what will happen is that the majority of the report that has been prepared and presented will be accepted, with the proviso that perhaps this issue can be further discussed and debated later on. So in that respect, I don't think it will be a failure, but on the contrary, it will be a way forward towards a more comprehensive understanding by everybody concerned that the issue of governance, human rights is crucial, it's sacred to the principles that the Commonwealth shares and believes in.
Will the actions taken by leaders at this summit make the Commonwealth more relevant?
I think so, although nothing is static. I believe a lot in rejuvenation, and I think most members believe in rejuvenation. I think there's a need to continuously make the Commonwealth more relevant to the changing times, more relevant to the new global environment, and there is a need for us to move forward. There's a need for us to ensure that we become more open societies, more accountable to our people and to the international community, that we have strong democratic institutions to ensure that we live the values that we believe in.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Can you just wait there for a minute? Just get some other shots. Thank you for that. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you.
And when do you head home? Tomorrow?
Tomorrow, if if I get a seat, either on Qantas if it flies again or another airline.
Well, yeah, other airlines are flying, but you may have a long route home. I'm not
Yes.
sure who.
In any case, I'll be going to Singapore,
Singapore. Right.
and from there, then I'll fly home. Yeah. Have you ever been to Seychelles?
I have. I was saying to your colleague